And Just Like That's latest episode may have given us the perfect ending for our heroine, Carrie Bradshaw. Much to the fandom's surprise, it was recently announced that And Just Like That Season 3 will be the show's last, and thus, the characters' storylines will be wrapped up with a two-part finale from the Sex and the City sequel series. Much of And Just Like That Season 3 was taken up by Carrie and Aiden's toxic relationship, in which she bent over backwards to try and make their romance work. But after moving homes, agreeing to a nonsensical 5-year pause that Aiden repeatedly broke, his family issues, Carrie had the last straw when Aiden's trust issues reared their ugly head, and she broke up with him in episode 9. This made Carrie and Duncan shippers rejoice. Having formed a creative partnership with her fellow writer and downstairs neighbor, Carrie was reluctant to get involved with Duncan, but their simmering sexual tension bubbled over in episode 10, and they slept together. And while it doesn't seem like Duncan will be part of Carrie's ultimate endgame, she could still get her happily ever after. Carrie is nostalgic for her past single and fabulous life in the latest And Just Like That episode. Carrie Bradshaw, Sarah Jessica Parker, smiling as she holds up a cocktail in And Just Like That Season 3, Episode 11. Throughout all of And Just Like That Season 3, Carrie has been trying to make her palatial Gramercy townhouse a home. However, for as gorgeous as the property is, and how enviable her closet space may be, it's obvious that something has always felt off for her. This is because the only reason Carrie bought the townhouse in the first place was that Aiden wouldn't set foot in her apartment because of his inability to let go of her decades-past affair with Big. This should have been Carrie's first clue that Aiden had no interest in working on his trust issues. In the latest And Just Like That episode, Forgot About the Boy, Charlotte remarks that Carrie's place is really shaping up, with new furniture and decorations making it feel more welcoming. But despite these additions, Carrie still can't feel back at home, and feels pulled back to her iconic brownstone apartment. For Carrie, that apartment is so synonymous with the New York City life she carved out for herself. When Aiden came back into her life in And Just Like That, Carrie went 100% in on their relationship to the point where she completely lost her own identity when she was with him. Now she's come back to herself and wants to feel at home again. Alas, with all the changes Lizette and her roommate have made to the apartment, it doesn't look like that home will be in Carrie's brownstone. Perhaps the And Just Like That ending will see Carrie make a big move, but the fact that the show appears to be taking her back to her single and fabulous roots is a good sign. Carrie has proven she doesn't need a man to have her fairy tale ending. Carrie Bradshaw, Sarah Jessica Parker, smiling in her editor's office in And Just Like That Season 3, Episode 11. Arguably, Carrie's best And Just Like That Season 3 storyline has been her writing fiction for the first time. The season has frequently shown her on her laptop, chipping away at a historical fiction novel, and collaborating with Duncan as they swap feedback on each other's manuscripts. It's telling that Carrie has a burst of creative inspiration following her breakup with Aiden, her mind no longer having to babysit his pathetically fragile ego. Episode 10 saw Carrie finishing her novel, while the latest episode featured her meeting with her editor, Amanda, who absolutely loved her pages. The only catch was that Amanda didn't think Carrie's protagonist should wind up alone, arguing that a woman being single in the 1800s is a tragedy. Carrie disagrees, and it's a clear case of life imitating art. It's worth noting that Carrie isn't overly upset about this, and we know that she has a tendency to go on the defensive when faced with truths or ideas she's not ready to confront, i.e., her spat with Miranda about Duncan in Episode 7. Home issues aside, Carrie is genuinely at peace being alone, and this is a worthy fairy tale ending, for her or her novel's protagonist. The epilogue of Carrie's book shows she's open to romance, but doesn't need it. Duncan and Carrie smiling at each other at Charlotte's birthday party in And Just Like That Season 3 image via Max. Carrie ultimately decides to write the epilogue to her book that her editor asked for. However, the final pages do not see Carrie's protagonist ending up head over heels in love, but rather, receiving an invitation to a party in which an eligible widower was to be the honored guest, thus setting up the potential for a new romance, nothing more. Interestingly, the dashing mystery man in Carrie's novel is returning to New York City from London, where Duncan spends half the year. Earlier in the episode, Carrie is saddened when Seema tells her that Duncan won't be renewing his lease for the downstairs Gramercy apartment. At her core, Carrie is a true romantic and always will be. She saw potential with Duncan, and would have liked to keep exploring it. But wanting romantic love isn't the same thing as making it a necessity.